All right. All right. All right. All right. Yeah, I'm kind of hesitant to do this review because I look up to these people. Like these are legends, and it's just like, who am I to review legends' work? Uh, Such a classic original, but it's just, yeah. I'm gonna go in, and just a disclaimer. Of course, there's spoilers like all my reviews, and anybody that's a part of this movie, don't blackball me. You know, I'm just a fan. I'm just a rapper that's an aspiring actor also, and you know, whatever. Feel how you feel, but I'm still a fan first, and I gotta call it like I see it. Too many stars in this for it to be such a mediocre movie. I'm not gonna say it was bad, but just very mediocre. So it made me actually want to do research. I don't normally do research on movies and like do proper due diligence. I hate that word, that term now. But could you close that window up a little bit? Sorry. Like I normally don't even care about who wrote it, who directed all that. I really just watch. Am I entertained? Is this good? Is it not? No, I mean the window. But this time I had to because it was just so many um so many uh moments where I'm just like, did a black person write and direct this? Because this is kind of shameful. So then I looked up who was a part of this movie. Here we go. Greg Brewer, the director of Coming to America. Now he did do some classics. Hustle and Flow is forever a classic. I don't know about this. Black Snake Moan. It's a pretty dope movie. I never saw Legends of Tarzan, but I heard that had some weird stuff in it also. So, oh, producer for Empire. I'm seeing some. He was also the Boomerang. It's weird, man. It's weird when it's a tough place because ah. So, anyways, I believe all three of these people are Caucasian, directed by a Caucasian. This guy can't act. I'm sorry. The dude who played Eddie Murphy's son can't act. He kind of messed it up, like being around so many great actors and him just not really selling the role. I think he was supposed to play somebody from the hood, and he was just too proper. He was too. He It felt like he was from somewhere in like Hollywood, California, or something like that. It just he didn't. He didn't sell me on that hood role. You know what I mean? Like he just didn't feel hood, and he just can't act that good. So he definitely messed it up for me. And whoever he is, Jermaine Fowler, much luck to you in your career, whatever. But that you didn't. It was not a good job. It just wasn't. So that kind of messed it up. Him not selling me on it, and maybe it's just the writing that just wasn't that good, and maybe he couldn't fulfill that role. Uh, as well, if the writing was better, if the directing was better. It felt like a mockery. It felt like they were literally making fun of the first one. Like they were trying to do a parody of the first one and taking moments that were significant and amazing and like made sense. So like the ceremony in the first one where it was like a ceremony presenting his potential wife, uh that was for a reason. They literally had a ceremony for every single time uh what's his name walked in, Wesley Snipes and his character. It was just so all over the place. They just tried to. It really just felt like a money grab. It felt like they just was like, we're gonna throw like a bunch of top notch black celebrities in a movie and just expect we're just gonna make money off this. That's like what it felt like. It didn't feel like they were trying to really make uh a sequel for the fans, you know? Anyways, I'm gonna just run down a list of what I thought. they made this character Leslie Jones just so basically like so the first one I felt like there was like this difference that you saw between the African royalty in Queens and the black Americans that were in the hood. But maybe I wasn't as conscious back then, but it didn't feel so direct as direct with like the narrative that black Americans are ghetto, classless, uneducated people. It wasn't so like in your face the first time. It was kind of they showed like I feel like they showed a more balanced perspective of black Africans and black Americans in the first one. And I believe it's the same directors and writers from the first one, which is surprising to me, like white people telling these black classic stories. I find it very interesting, but you know, what can you do? You know, who controls the story? I don't know how the process works as far as who's starting the writing and who continues it. Maybe they finalize it, maybe they invest in it. I don't know, but it's just interesting. It's because right now in the black community, for anyone who gives a F, there is a I'm gonna get back to there is a tough conversation or conflict that's happening between non-American blacks and black Americans, and this just added fuel to the flame. It's like they want us to even be further. And I'm not gonna say everyone that watches this may see it this way, but like subconsciously, when you're seeing like there's a difference between being just like funny ghetto and just like a little ghetto with some class and like being funny and just being all out just like trying to act like the bottom of the barrel blacks in America kind of character. And why go from such a wide dynamic of this royal Princess Amunda family to this all the way like at one scene she was just like, yeah, that's caviar, and she was like, a caviar, and it was just like that. Number one, that's not even funny. It wasn't that funny, and it's just so in your face with ignorance. um Anyways, Tracy Morgan killed it. His role as Uncle Reem was dope. He did his thing. He did his thing acting. The daughters in it were beautiful and amazing. They made it for real. Like the daughters of Prince Hakeem. Such a classic movie, the first one. And for any kids that didn't experience the first one, that's like kids now in this age. I don't know. James Earl Jones, legend, legend. John Amos, legend. And they weren't even in it that much. There was a scene that was so cheesy that this is where it just kind of intro was dope, but it came to the point where like there was a scene where like Tiana was playing the girl who was potentially gonna marry the son of Princess Moon, the new prince, and it was like this choreographed like dance, and oh, it killed me. I'm just like, why? Why did she do the pop right on beat with like this dude doing it was like a sing along. I didn't expect this to be a sing along like that. And to be a cheesy one at that, man, the music was bad. I'm usually like not this critical on music, but it was distracting me how bad the music was. It was so cheesy, so non-original, and just seemed rush, and it's like I never like I normally don't really care for like I mean I guess if it's good, it'll just flow and you won't really notice it. Like me as a musician, I'm like, okay, these are some interesting keys or whatever, and I might notice it if it's really good and it stands out. But when it's bad and it just sounded like it sounded like some Disney stuff. Honestly, it sounded like some kiddie Disney kind of music, and it really threw me off. Uh, yeah. Psh. Corny rapping. Oh, I hate corny rapping. Like, don't. It's so cringy when there's rap involved and it's just like some corny raps over some corny beats. Y'all could have did better. All these great people in it, and maybe it was a cash grab. I don't know, but what I don't appreciate as just as a black man that's dealing with living in this society and living in this reality of confusion is adding more confusion with media and entertainment, adding more fuel to the flame because again, blacks in America, blacks in the Caribbeans, blacks in England, blacks in all over the world, we're being pushed and separated. We're being pushed apart by this narrative that we're just so different and black Americans are ignorant and classless and and like I'm this in between Jamaican American, grew up in America but Jamaican, and like I'm like this in between dude that experienced everything but is still very sensitive to the black American story and the black American history. Um it's a tough pill to swallow to see, like it was so hard to watch it. Like I really wanted to stop halfway through because the culture appropriating, the fact that like why couldn't they show Africa, the real Africa, with like highways and malls and shopping centers and dope cars, and like there are plenty parts of the African continent, and even though Zamunda is made up, it's just like why are we still showing jungle Africa? And it's like it's supposed to be entertaining and that's cool, and I guess like because the first one was more in Queens than it was in Zamunda, like it was, like I probably wouldn't have cared if they kind of kept it that route again, but that's probably the only thing that was different because everything else was like the same story. Like why do you wait 30 plus years to tell the same story? Couldn't get no other writer to like come up with a good follow. Like you wait this long to tell the same story. Legendary Eddie Murphy, legend. He really didn't sell me on Hakeem this time. It's weird. I don't know, like who am I again? I'm just one fan, but like he didn't act that role. Uh, and it's funny, all the other characters he did great, and like the barbershop scene was perfect. The sexual chocolate, like he did those characters good, like but that African accent thing, I don't know. He sounded like Middle Eastern or something. I can't even explain it. He didn't feel like Hakeem, you know. But yeah, it's some weird times, weird ass times. I don't know what's happening in Hollywood and these agendas. And it's funny because I feel like because I've seen some good ass movies, I've seen some good movies, and I don't review the good ones. And I'm not trying to be that troll that just trolls the bad ones, but I guess I'm passionate when I see like these narratives told about people that look like me. You know what I mean? Like in the stuff that I deal with, and I guess like whatever. I want to do more good reviews, but I guess it is what it is. Like this was, let's see, uh, did I what as far as my expectations of this movie that I've been anticipating for a long time. Uh, it's probably just as bad as I thought it was going to be. Maybe it's not. It's maybe a little bit better than what I thought it was going to be, but it's still not that great. It's not as bad. I take that back. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be when I first kind of saw like previews or something, but it's not that much better either. So, and if I was to give it a rating out of 10, I'd say like a 6. 6 out of 10. Not horrible, but not great. Not even really average. So yeah, that's my opinion on it. Going on the comments, subscribe, do all of that. P for that passport.